Hello, and welcome to this tutorial of Pineapple OFC, or Open Face Chinese Poker. Regular poker is a great game, but there is no going back once you've tried your hand at Open Face Chinese Poker. One of the most common ways to play Open Face Chinese Poker is Pineapple OFC. Pineapple is played with a minimum of 2 players and a maximum of 3 players, and is played with a standard 52-card deck. Open Face Chinese Poker does not require any chips for betting or raising. It is a point-based game. The final objective in OFC is to arrange 13 cards in 3 poker hands. One hand will have 3 cards and has to be the weakest hand of the 3. This is called the top row. The second hand has 5 cards and has to be better than the top hand. This is called the middle row. The third hand also has 5 cards and has to be better than both the other hands. This is called the bottom row. If your final hand does not follow these rules, you foul and lose all 3 rows, also known as dead hand. In OFC, you do not get to see all of your cards at the beginning of the hand, which increases the probability of a dead hand, so play smart. Let's begin with an example to take you through how the game is played and how points are scored. First, 5 cards are dealt between Mr. A and Mr. B. OFC is played with a dealer button, and if there are 3 players, the action moves clockwise around the table, starting from the left of the dealer. After each hand, the dealer button moves 1 spot to the left, just like in Texas Hold'em. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer, in our case, Mr. B, players begin to set their first 5 cards to start building their hand. After everyone has set their first 5 cards, players take turns drawing their cards and adding them to their hand. In Pineapple, each player draws 3 cards at a time and chooses 2 of them to add it to their hands while discarding the third face down. Since we draw so many cards in Pineapple, it's easier to make bigger hands, which also leads to the constraint of only 3 players. The game is a relatively quick one, and the scoring begins once every player has set their respective hands. Each player compares each of their rows against their opponent's rows. Each row is worth 1 point, and if you win all 3, it's called a scoop, and you get a score of +6. If you win 2 and lose 1, you gain 1 point. If you lose 2 and win 1, you get a score of -1. If you lose all 3, you lose 6 points. Apart from regular scoring, there is something known as royalties. Royalties are basically bonuses for making big hands in different rows. Royalties carry more weightage compared to the regular points and are an extremely important aspect of the game. For example, 3 of a kind is worth 0 points in the bottom row, 2 points in the middle, and up to 22 points if it's at the top. The next concept that you need to learn in OFC is Fantasyland. You can earn your place in Fantasyland if you make a pair of queens or better in your top row without fouling. In Fantasyland, a player receives all their cards at the beginning and is allowed to choose his or her best 13-card hand. In Pineapple, you receive a total of 14 cards, out of which you need to pick your best 13 and discard 1. To make matters worse for your opponent, they have to set their hand in regular fashion without seeing any of your cards. To stay in Fantasyland, you'll need to get quads or better in your bottom row, or trips in your top row. If you manage to do this, you get another fantasy hand, known as recurring fantasy. There is no limit to the number of recurring fantasies a player can get. Once the game is done, the points are compared and the winner is decided. Now that you have learned the basics of OFC, it's time to put your skills to test on Pokerbaazi's all-new OFC tables. Good luck! Pokerbaazi.com, India's most trusted website.